Thank you. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to ask Lisa, do we have a quorum?
Yes.
40.
40.
40? Okay, thank you. Alan, you're going to do the previous minutes, please?
As usual, the minutes of the previous meeting are published in the December issue of the Cobrua Reporter. Has anyone found any omissions, additions, or corrections needed for those minutes? Is there any objection to accepting the minutes as published in the Cobrua Reporter? And thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Jody, have a security report?
Good morning, my name is Jody with United Security. I'm here to present the monthly report for November. For miles patrol, we had 5,232. Pre-authorized calls, 8,223. For contractors, we had 402. Elevator rescue malfunction, we had 11. For auto accidents, for the month of October, we had 4. For November, we had 5. Welfare checks for October, we had 6. November, we had 4. Fire for both months, 0. ID confiscated for October, we had 42, which was 40 at the gates and 2 at the clubhouse. And for November, we have 54, and they were all at the gates. Any questions? Normally, no. The only contractors that are allowed in on the weekend should be AC, plumbing, and air.
Last week, there was an issue here all day Saturday. He said there's no trouble getting in. That shouldn't be the case.
Which association was it?
Wolverton.
I'll look into that.
Just want to say that in the future, okay, if you have a question, please stand up, state your name and where you're from, okay? Makes it a lot easier.
Hi, Byron Igo from Lincoln. Jody, following up on Fred's question there. We had at Lincoln again on Saturday a crew cab pickup hauling a big dumpster type trailer behind it show up on Saturday. So again, how are these people, I can see if it's an unmarked van where you're not sure, maybe they're coming to visit someone, but when it's obviously a big work vehicle, how are these people getting in the gate?
That shouldn't be allowed at the gates. If it happens, just contact the gates and have the rover come out, and we'll have the rover take care of it. And that way I'll look into the guards at the gates, but it shouldn't be happening.
Sure, exactly. Now, we brought this up before. Last month, we brought up the same issue, and it seems that it's continuing. So at some point, will the guards at the gate get the message?
We'll be training them today for sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, my name is Al.
Please stand up.
Yes, sir. I just want to compliment you. I had somebody washing cars, and Jody, I talked to her and security, and they immediately responded and executed the removal of that property, or that person from that property. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions?
How important is it for security to check, if it's a male, to check the ladies' restroom at the pool? If these, about half of them do and half of them don't, but I can understand why they have misgivings. Is that really absolutely necessary?
It is, and they should be checking. So if they are not checking,
Every other one checks.
okay, so I'll speak to them again, but they should be checking. It is absolutely necessary.
Okay.
Yoo-hoo.
Thank you.
Hello. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, Fred has his hand up in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fred Hadley, Cornwall E. I just want to back up what the previous speaker said, that it's not being complied with. I asked one of the guards why he went into the men's room but didn't go check the ladies' room. He says, well, if we hear voices in the ladies' room, then we assume it's okay, but it seems to me that that's a little bit hit and miss. Is he hearing a voice of distress? Is somebody on the floor calling on their phone? It seems to me that the protocol should be for opposite sex wellness checks. A loud rap on the door and announce security, is everybody okay? And if there's no voice, then he can enter. If there is an affirmative voice, then he's complied. But they're not doing that.
That's what should be happening, so I'll be speaking with all rovers today.
So the other question I have regarding security is, a number of months ago, a question was asked about what happens when there's a fall, a person falls down. What is security allowed to do? Are they allowed to assist them? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the answer was, no, we're not allowed to touch. We're only allowed to call 911 and stay with the person and comfort and reassure them that help is on the way. Is that the correct, right? Remember that right?
Yes.
Right. So the next question is, by the way, you said before you work for the United Security Service, but you don't have peace officer status, do you?
Police officer?
Yeah,
Word
peace
security.
officer status. That means the power to
Well,
arrest.
peace officer.
Peace.
No.
No, nobody on the security force does, right?
For this company, no, I can only speak for our company.
I mean, on our premises.
Correct.
Right. So what happened at the last month is there was a person that maybe spoke a few minutes longer than they were supposed to and wasn't willing to relinquish the microphone. And someone, a delegate, not the chairman, called for you to come to the front of the room, which I didn't think was appropriate. It seems to me that you should only respond to the chair of the meeting, not to random delegates. But anyway, you did respond, and what I saw, and it's on video, it's very obvious, is that you put your arm on the shoulder of the woman that had overstayed her speech, which is touching. So
I never touched her. Cameras are reviewed. My arm was up, but I never touched her.
Well, all right, well, that's open to interpretation. But anyway, forgetting that incident, what is the policy? Are you allowed to put your hands on a person simply because they're speaking too long or off subject?
We don't touch anyone, sir.
You don't touch anyone under any circumstances.
We don't touch anyone, sir.
How
Correct.
about self-defense if somebody wants to hit you? Would that be a...
Hey, Fred.
No, I mean, there are legitimate exceptions. but-
Excuse me, Fred. We really have to move along.
All right, well, anyway, thank you for making that policy clear, Jody. Other than that, I think you're doing a terrific job. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Okay, unfortunately, I don't have a president's report, but let me just say I'm just happy to be here. At least some people clapped. Okay, Treasurer Lynn is not here today, so Dave Fisher is going to do the treasurer's report.
Good morning, everyone. Our month's ending balance in the checking account was $17,973.44. Our CD was $15,784.39. leaving $33,757.83 at our disposal. Last month's balance, the checking was $7,947.91. Our CD was $30,436.20, for a total of $38,384.11. In October, Linwood threw $15,000 from the CD to deposit into the checking accounts as our balances were very low. Are there any other questions? I have the M&O. You want me to go into that? You want me to do it?
Okay, Dave, thank you. You're gonna do M&O also, I understand, because Lynn's not here.
Okay. The committee met with management on November 19, 2025. Present for management were Judy Millington, Vice President of Sen West Site Administrator, Monica Wells, Senior Vice President and CFO of Senville Recreation, Dan Cruz, Regional Facilities Manager, and Laura Coffey, our attorney for Senville. The committee discussed with Laura Coffey fines for residents who violate the clubhouse rules. Laura will draft a rule and regulations for fines for the violations that the committee can further discuss. Dan Cruz explained that 16 fire hydrants are now the county's responsibilities. We still have 87 hydrants that we maintain. The hydrants cost between $14,000 to $16,000 each. We are still waiting for the go-ahead to start the Lyons Road project. All of the required information has been given to the county. Once we receive the approval, the project will begin. Dan explained that there is preventive maintenance scheduled for all our equipment. The lake is sprayed every 10 days. Our officers and directors policy, which includes an active shooter in legal defense, starts on December 1st, 2025, for an increase of $1,666. We asked Judy to find out why it took so long to correct the screeching noise on bus number 3. Wishing everyone a happy holidays. Thank you.
Was there any questions? No? Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Good job. Okay, Felix, you're going to talk about the election committee. Oh.
Good morning, everyone. There will be 4 seats open on the Cobrua Group Board in February 2026. The terms in the office is 2 years, February 10th, 2026 to February 8th, 2028. The election will be held at the February 10th, 2026 Cobrua Delegate meeting. The candidates who have filed a declaration of intent to run for the board are Martin Fish, Mark Hoffman, Mona Lloyd, Susan Meltzer, and Sid Schwartz. The declaration of intent to run was due in the Cobrua Group office by November 30th, 2025. If you miss the November 30th date, nomination will be taken from the floor at the January 13, 2026 Cobrua Delegate meeting. Election procedure and eligibilities are governed by the Cobrua Group bylaws, Article 9. The positions are open to any permanent resident who is a unit owner of record. A permanent resident is defined as a person who has resided at Century Village West for at least 9 months in the preceding calendar year and is either and member of the Cobrua Executive Board or Director of a constituent members Condominium Association of Cobrua. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. Appreciate it. Stanley, you have something for community affairs today? No? Okay. Comcast cable? There was a gentleman today that had a question about Comcast that he was concerned about. Maybe you could address that for him. If they're not showing up or something.
I have all the
You
information.
You have it? Okay, good. Okay, so we're good with that. Okay, Regina, hot wire cable?
There's really no new news on Hotwire. The same number to call for customer service, and we're still pending getting into the clubhouse. That's all there is on Hotwire. Do you want me to do the elevators?
Absolutely.
Okay, with the elevators, we have the cylinder project winding down. Yarmouth will be waiting to do their cylinders pending the modification program ongoing and about to begin. There was no sense in them at this point getting cylinders installed when modification for the entire system will be short to follow. So they decided to wait on their cylinder date until the complete modernization begins for their association. Rexford A will be starting in January. I think it's January 5th through the 8th, and that will be the last one on the list to complete the cylinder project. Any question? No.
Thank you, Regina. Is Martin here today? No? Okay. Bill, to go give a report on the first service contract? A short report?
Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me. My name is Milt Fishberger, and you've seen me come up here before when I was speaking about management search committees. This particular one has to do with the first service contract, which every association other than my friend Mona's association doesn't belong to. So there are 15 associations involved in this particular contract. The last time I spoke to you all, we were getting close to finishing. The contract is basically finished right now. I hope that this week you will be receiving the contract with a one-page summary to help you understand what the contract's all about. I have asked, as you can see, there's a full table. I don't know who's at first service right now since they're all sitting to my right. But the person who is, I was going to say the blonde hair, but there were two of them. So the one with the jacket, her name is Ivy Montero. She is the vice president of first service. To her left is Dawn Chernecki, who is a senior regional manager. And those are the rest of the people like Leah, Dominique, Alexis, and Ron, you all know. Because if you've been to the first service offices, you know them. The reason I asked specifically Ivy and Dawn to come today, because there may be questions. Now, you haven't seen the contract yet. The presidents haven't seen the contract. The boards haven't seen the contract. But if you have a general question that you think is important, that you want to get a clarification now, I've asked them to attend the meeting. If you don't have a question, then I've asked them in vain. So hopefully someone's got some questions here, and then I'll turn it over to, I guess, Ivy. You'll be the spokesperson for those questions. Why don't you come up here, Ivy?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I am Ivy Montero, Vice President of First Service Residential, and I have been very, very involved with the committee in putting together, and as well as my team, in putting together a new renewal that addresses most of the concerns have been addressed to the extent that we could, and anything that hasn't been resolved, we reached a happy medium. So I am very content with the product that we're presenting to the individual boards. And I think the last time we met with the attorney, we had a couple of tweaks, we addressed them. Then there was one more, and we addressed that. And then we're at the final, So does anybody, again, you will be receiving them this week? You'll be receiving them this week. As Milt says, there will be a cover page that addresses the structure of the contract, because it's a little bit different than what you're used to. And that structure came into play to give you more power or authority when it comes to your expenses. So I think that'll work in your benefit. And there are certain details that we also addressed that were in the previous contract, and you wanted some things a little different, a little better, and all of that is in the new contract. Do you have any questions for me now? You, sir.
Ivy.
Yes.
Morning, and thank you for everyone being here. The only question I have, and which I brought up before, is the question of responding back in 48 hours, which I feel is absurd. I mean, if the sky's falling, water, fire, you can't get back to us in 48 hours.
Right, so anytime it's an emergency, that is not the case. We have reorganized, even in anticipation of the contracts being signed. We have now a person in the office that pretty much all she's doing is answering the phones. We do have the call center. We do have a protocol to get back to you as soon as possible. Anything that is determined to be an emergency, there's an immediate response.
But I'm speaking to a voicemail message.
You're
I'm,
what?
I'm speaking to a voicemail message Monday.
I'm sorry?
The voicemail.
Voicemails.
How do I tell them it's an emergency?
So, yeah, you always speak to a live person. There is no
I don't
voicemail.
always speak to a live person.
Okay. Okay, so,
Even when I don't.
okay, Leah, why don't you address it? Because we have the phones rolled over to the call center, and there's always a live person to answer. However,
I believe what you're referring to is when you call a direct line. If you call a direct line, the voicemail does say 48 hours. That is typically for a non-resident individual. If you are a board member, if you are a resident, you should be getting a call back sooner. That is more or less for contractors, realtors, and people along that line. If you're not getting a response within a day from your admin, please let me know, because that should not be the case.
I'm calling the direct line because that's the number that was given to us.
So we're in the process of updating the who do you call for each building, so you can have the information on what numbers you should be contacting. I always say call our direct phone number, not a direct line, because our admins are cross-trained. So you should be calling our direct phone number, and then if your admin, if you want to speak directly to your admin regarding like a violation or something detailed, we'll transfer you to your admin, but otherwise, anyone on that phone can assist you.
Are you referring to the 989-5111 number?
Correct.
And then send, hey.
No, that sends you to our office. That brings to every individual in our office, and if someone does not answer, then it's rerouted to the call center. The call center leaves an open ticket for someone in our office to call you back. And we close our call center tickets daily. So you should be getting a call back that same day. And if it's towards the end of the day, by the early morning the next day. And the admins are expected to.
It does sound low, but when someone is leaking, the roof is and water's coming down.
If someone, okay, so glad you brought that point up. If there's a true emergency, they do not leave an open ticket. What they do is they call each property manager's telephone. And so we all get the call. So if you're in Fanshawe, for example, so they'll call Alexis first. If Alexis doesn't answer, if your property manager doesn't answer, they call my cell phone. And they continue to call all property managers until one of us answers, and we are able to troubleshoot the issue over the phone.
So what do I do? Just wait on the phone till you leapfrog from one phone to another?
Correct, and someone will answer the phone within 2 minutes.
All right.
But just to clarify, and this is changing behavior, right, is the most difficult thing. We will be putting out a phone list. The best number to call is always the main number, because that operator, that human person, will route you to who you need to talk to, who you want to talk to. And if by chance that person is not in the office at that moment, because the managers manage the community, then you will be spoken to and told that in a better time to call. If it is an emergency, and you say it's an emergency, whether it is the office staff or the call center, they will get in touch with the property manager to address that immediately. Any emergency call is addressed immediately.
So you're saying if I say it's an emergency, they'll get back to me within 24 hours or less?
Well, if you call us and say there's a leak in the building, fire, flood, and blood, that's emergency. If you tell us there's a leak in the building that's affecting the building, whether it's the call center or anybody in the office, they're going to call your property manager and Leah, they're going to get over to that building.
Normally I wouldn't call the office unless it's an emergency.
And I appreciate that. I wish everybody was like that. But we address that, And you brought up a great point, because if it doesn't take 48 hours to respond to a call, the recording shouldn't say it takes 48 hours. So that's misguiding you, so that will be addressed.
On your side, hopefully.
Okay, look, we're gonna, excuse me, we're gonna have to move along, because maybe someone else has some questions as
The
well.
gentleman had a question.
Jay Goldberg, Wilmington D. Just a quick question. You said we'll be receiving the contracts this week. Are you referring to presidents and directors?
So our intent, it's going to be emailed to everyone, and we are going to hand deliver the contract to the president.
Correct.
Yes, not to all the directors, but it will be emailed to everyone, so everyone has the opportunity to take a look at it at their leisure. It's a 22-page document. 26? Okay, 26. 26, and it keeps on growing. Hi, Susan.
Hi, my question is a simple one. Is there going to be some kind of a cheat sheet to show the differences, the major differences, old contract, new contract?
So there will be a cheat sheet. The cheat sheet talks about the difference in the structure. The committee has done a wonderful job of digging deep into that contract. There are things that are, I don't know, twice a week that they wanted 3 times a week, or once a week that are 2 times a week. There's, is it from 6 to 8 or from 5 to 7? So there's little details that we're not going to go over each one, but the major areas, for example, the restructuring of the team and what to expect, the communication and what to expect, the structure of the contract and what to expect, the janitorial and what to expect, those items will be addressed as larger bullet points. So yes, that was a long way to say yes.
Is there any other questions?
Okay, so thank you. Yes, this is a great forum to talk about that. So one of the things in the summary of the contract when it's delivered to you is explaining what is cost plus versus fixed fee. The contract that you currently have with First Service Residential means it's fixed fee. It is structured as fixed fee. That means that everything is included in one number. So it's a high number because it includes the supplies, the office, the staff, the vans, the golf cart, the communication, everything is built into one number. The challenge with that is that it locks you in to a number. So anytime we have to, for example, if you were going to increase, if you wanted to increase your staff, we would have to create a whole addendum to the 15 associations to do an increase, which happened a couple of years ago. So what we moved into, and this was a little bit as the request of the committee, because the structure of the other management companies that we were competing against were cost plus. Cost plus gives you more power and clarity over your expenses because things are broken down. I'm going to give you an example. In the fixed fee, it includes everything I just said, plus it includes medical insurance for the associates, right? So all of that is in one number. So you were paying, I don't know, between $16,000, $18,000, $20,000 a month? It depends on how many units you have. But that's a rough gauge, right? With a cost plus, your monthly management fee is about $2,000, more or less $2,000. Like, how do we go from 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 to $2,000? Because the other items, you are paying them in a different invoice. So how do you control this? So when it comes to labor, right, all our staff is shared amongst the 15 associations. So every association will get an invoice for labor, and it'll say, John Smith, it makes this amount of money, this is the labor rate, and this is what you're paying. So if you all want to, at the end of the year, increase your budget by 3%, 5%, 10%, if the staff is doing wonderfully, you control that without having to get a different contract. When it comes to the medical insurance, you only pay for the associates that take medical insurance. When we're talking about a fixed fee contract, I have to make an assumption of how many people will be taking insurance. So for example, we have about 40 people in staff total. We have 40 people. So I may make an assumption that at least 50% are going to be taking insurance. So I'm going to build that into the fixed fee model because I have to pay that. With a cost plus, if of the 40 employees, only 10 are taking insurance, you only pay for 10 people that are taking insurance. So it is a more precise way of managing your budget. The flip side of this that I feel some of you are thinking is, well, I don't want to be bombarded with a bunch of invoices that I have to take a look at and review. We don't. There's going to be your management invoice, your labor invoice, your medical invoice, and any ancillary. The team reviews all of that. And we will try to consolidate that so it is easier to interpret. But it's 4 pieces of paper. Most of you have the team approving it anyway, and it is in direct relation to how the contract is written. Again, the intent is, we hear the word transparency all over. It's transparency. We want to bill you for the services that you are receiving. We don't want to build anything into the contract for just in case. Even with the office space that we rent, we can bill what we know is going to be billed. If anything comes up, I would have to build that into the contract, right? So now we know what that contract is for the next X amount of years that we have your contract. So we're trying to be very specific. We know that, the dues of the condominiums are important. We want to make sure the residents are paying what they need to be paid, but there's no room for just in case or fluff or anything like that. That is the intent of breaking down the contract in a cost-plus model. When the contracts are delivered, I will ask the presidents, it'll be hand-delivered to the presidents, it'll be sent to all of the board members. Talk amongst yourself. Any questions that you have, the team will be happy to address. We can We can even schedule something where we'll go over it once you have read it and have the questions. And also know that the committee, and thank you, Mel, for leading that committee, the committee has spent hours and hours and hours going through that contract line by line by line. I mean, I learned things about the contract, and I've read that contract 1,000,000 times. And we went back and forth. We went back and forth on why does this make sense? Why does this not make sense? So I can pretty much guarantee that 90% of the things that you say, well, did they do this? Did they do that? We did it. We did it. Because the committee was very, very meticulous, not only seeing what they felt they needed as residents, which is how a committee should be, right? Because it's at the other side of the coin. What do you want as a resident? What better serves the resident? But they can take into account as a resident, as a leader, as a director, what is really manageable, and we can address that as a management company. So this has been no small feat, and I am really happy that we have a product that I believe satisfied everyone. Maybe it satisfied you all a little bit more than it satisfied me.
I just have,
Excuse me,
I just said, there's one person in the back that has a question.
Okay.
In the easiest one-sentence way, I just want a generic response, because both of these issues have come up. Can you just tell me, in terms of our personal apartment, what we are responsible for and what First Service is responsible for? I've heard many different responses. And also, is First Service responsible for the maintenance staff in each of our buildings?
First Service is responsible for the maintenance and the janitorial staff. Yes, they are First Service employees. And as it relates to what is a resident responsibility and our responsibility, we have that broken down. And if you talk to Kalia afterwards, she will be able to help you. And I stood closer to you because I don't hear well, so I just wanted to hear your question.
There's one more question here on the staff. Okay.
Behind me.
Okay.
Different subject, but still certainly, I think, your responsibility. Is there any regular time that you have to have someone go walk around a building? Yes. Not being called because someone had a problem, but someone just makes a walk all around the building until things over.
Yes, Ted, right?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up. One of the biggest changes in this contract is to allow us the ability to be more proactive than reactive. So part of the restructuring is that we're going to have a director of operations where the maintenance supervisor and the janitorial supervisor roll up to him. So the inspections, even though they're being done now, the accountability of the results of those inspections, we're going to have the opportunity to address things quicker and to provide reports to the buildings of what the inspections warrant. If it's something that we take care of, we take care of it. If it's something that needs to be brought to your attention, we will bring it to your attention. So that you
I think right now is we call for something and someone to come out. But is there a time that somebody just has a job to walk all around the building?
So right now, we do. Right now, as it stands, we do quarterly inspections on all of the buildings. Now that is going to change with this new contract to do monthly inspections. And those monthly inspections will be done by the operations manager. And I think we all know who the operations manager is because we want someone who's familiar with your buildings. So it's a good fit for the association. So Ron is going to be the operations manager. So his job will be solely outside. Of course, he'll still have his email. He'll be communicating with all the presidents and directors. But his job will be to review the buildings monthly, because we understand that directors are volunteers and you don't want to do a walkthrough all the time of your building. So he'll be doing that for you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for me? Yes.
Association.
Yes, yes, and I knew that question was going to come up as soon as she said that. Yes, the new contract accounts for bringing on another manager. So yes. You're welcome.
Okay, we have to move forward. I want to thank you very much for coming in, for all you coming in. And I just want to say one thing to Milt, because he said that he invited you to come. First Service is always invited to come to the Cobrua meetings. And so is Crest, for that matter. They want to come in, okay? It's only fair that they would come in as well, if they would like. And that would be up to Mona to invite them. And thank you very much for coming, and you provided a lot of information. And as far as the committee is concerned, I tried to support them the best I could, okay? And I gotta say, they worked very diligently on this contract, and I'm a witness to that. So, thank them. They spend hours and hours doing this. So thank you.
Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Mike, who do I give the mic to?
Okay. Sid, you have a Cobra report or no? No?
Good morning. My Cobra report is very brief. We've set a date for a community meeting in the theater. All your buildings either have been or will be posted in the next couple of days. The date is February 3rd. It's a Tuesday from 10 to 12 in the Clubhouse Theater. And we plan to have presentations of where we stand, the status of our option to exercise our right to purchase the clubhouse. We'll have with us Peter Sachs, our attorney, his associate Danny Weber, and we'll have our financial consultant Stuart Nyberg from Code and Resnick Advisory. All residents and owners, of course, are welcome, as is First Service. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you all there. Any questions? I couldn't hear that question. Oh, 10 to 12.
What was the date again?
February 3rd. All your buildings have been posted. If they haven't, please talk to Leah, because First Service was handling the posting for us. The building here, it's going to be on the 2 channels, or 2 television channels. So there's no excuse for not showing, because you all know about it. Any other question? Okay, then I'll turn it over to Mona for our financial report.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Very quickly, the financials for Cobra. We have $161,786.17 total. That represents $20,103.70 in the checking account and $141,682.47 in 4 CDs. The CDs are laddered to mature between January and next April as funds are needed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else, Sid? Is that it? Okay. Is there any old business at all?
Jay Goldberg, Wilmington D. There's an issue that I brought up in the past more than one time, and I don't think it's been addressed. I'm referring to when you come out of Wolverton Drive and make a left onto New England, There's a section where people make a left, and unfortunately they go into the first roadway instead of the second roadway. I had asked if we could have a sign that says do not enter or keep right, and nothing has been done as of this point. There are multiple times when cars have been coming facing each other.
I have a form for you to fill out.
I've done that twice at the front desk. I did it in front of Sherry.
Fill out the form and put third request.
I did that with the second request that didn't get anywhere. What's the appropriate number of requests?
Just fill out the form. I'm sorry, taking so long, but. Yes.
Because Lynn isn't here, I'm just going to comment that if you want to hand one of the members of the M&O committee that form, we'll make sure that it gets to the chairman of our M&O committee and it gets discussed. You can hand it to myself or Sid or David. We're all members of M&O and I will personally deliver it.
Okay, thank you, Mona. That's a good idea. Is there any other old business? Any old business from the residents? That's your chance. Okay, good and welfare. Any? Okay, good and welfare.
My name is Abe Ainspan. I'm from Ensley D 4051. When I came into Florida, I noticed there was a leak from the roof into the porch. I called First Service. They came out, and that was back in middle of November. I have not heard from anybody since. It was not something that was gushing, but someone should have responded. That's for First Service.
That's a question for First Service, actually. And they're here, so maybe they can answer that question for you while they're here, after the meeting. Okay, good and welfare delegates. Did we do that? No. Okay, good and welfare residents, please keep your comments to about 2 minutes, please. What's that? You have your own microphone.
Charlie, am I allowed to hold the microphone?
You want to hold the microphone?
Yes.
It's okay with me.
You won't let me hold the microphone?
You could let him hold the microphone.
You had the problem.
Make him happy.
Please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. My question is about the First Service contract. Now, I listened very carefully, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard you say you're going to deliver copies to the presidents, not the residents, the presidents with the letter P. Is that correct? And that it'll be emailed to the directors? Right. But I didn't hear anything about us little old unit owners. Now, I'm a unit owner, and I'm allowed to go to the Cornwall meeting where this contract will be voted on. Am I not? Is that the policy? You can't have a contract without unit owner approval. How am I supposed to, how am I supposed to approve a contract that I have never seen, and I'm just taking your word for it about what's in it? Now, the state of Florida, Ivy, is very specific about what has to go on the portals. Bids for all contracts and services are among many of the items that are supposed to be on the portal. Is your bid for this management contract on the portal? Yes or no?
It is not. It hasn't been completed.
Well, the statute does not talk about completion. All bids, all bids are incomplete. That's why they're called bids. And the statute states that the bids have to be on the portal.
Hey, Fred, just keep it down.
Yeah.
Keep your voice down.
So I'm asking that these bids be placed on the portal immediately so that the unit owners will be able to intelligently vote and advise and ask questions at the critical meetings that will be scheduled in the coming months. Will you see that that's done so that you're in compliance with the state of Florida?
Whenever the bids are completed, they will be put up on the portal.
Will that be before they're voted on at the meetings?
Yes.
Well, I should certainly hope so, because otherwise you're asking people to vote blindly, okay?
And the residents also, if I may, the residents do not vote on the contract. The board of directors of each association votes on the contract.
The
Residents
directors
do
do
not
vote.
Correct.
The directors vote.
The directors.
Right, the delegates do not vote. I never said that we did. I'm sorry, I'm not a delegate. The unit owners do not vote. But it does say that unit owners may ask questions about any agenda item, and that includes a contract. So they're certainly allowed to ask questions. But how can they if they haven't seen the contract?
I believe I addressed, I believe I addressed your question already.
All right.
Okay,
Please see to it that they're posted. And the other thing is, Ron has been promising me that he's going to find out the maximum file size for videos for almost a year now. And he asked me to remind him again. I'm asking you again, what is the maximum file size? Because I used to put meeting videos up, and they don't want that anymore unless it can be put on the Cornwall portal. Why can't you find out what the video maximum file size is? You're an international company. You've got HODA. You've got AI. What is the answer, Ron? What is the answer? What is the maximum file size?
That's not an answer that, we are not an IT company. That is not, we're not posting.
Well, that's not what he told me. He told me that I'm going to get you.
We're not posting your videos.
Thank
We
you.
post the videos that are according to statute.
okay, thank you. Is there anything else? That's it? Okay, someone make a motion?
You have to go up, man. You have to go up.
My name is Alice Kazin, and I'm in Newcastle, A. Are we supposed to be able to reach Hotwire? There's a phone number listed on a piece of paper I got here. It rings and rings, and then it disconnects. Is there a way to reach them? Because that number does not work for me.
Is Regina still here? Regina, do you have an answer to that?
There are postings at every building for the Hotwire customer service. If Newcastle doesn't have them, I will ask First Service once again to repost all their buildings for all the Hotwire numbers. The numbers do work. I was on the phone with them this morning. So I will get with your president. Your buildings will be posted. Okay? Thank you.
I'm Mitchell Schaefer, the president of Brighton. I just have a question, and unless I'm under a serious misnomer, I understand that the contract is already finished. It takes into effect January 1st. So the gentleman who takes the videos was asking when the board going to vote on this contract. I don't believe the board is ever voting on this contract. It's finished. So can you explain that to me, please?
Happy to. Thank you. So there are 15 individual contracts. The contract committee has been working on the content of the contract. And when I told Mr. Hadley the bid is incomplete, it's because that hasn't been approved as of yet. Once we've, and that was where we were holding on in case anything comes up. It will be distributed today. And I was just advised that the original bids of all the management companies are uploaded in the portal. It is not effective January 1st until you sign the contract. Every association has to sign the individual contract for it to take effect January 1st. So we've got work to do.
So the comments that were made prior to today by the committee chairman he had explained that the contract is finished. And I don't understand how every board is going to vote on it before January 1st.
Well, if you vote on it before January 1st or January 5th or January 10th, it'll be retroactive to January 1st. We will make the necessary adjustments. As I mentioned earlier, everyone worked really, really hard.
Yes, I'm sure they did, but it was never really explained that way, that the board is expected to vote on the contract.
Each association needs to vote on the contract and sign on the dotted line. I mean, in effect, you already voted when you decided to move forward with First Service.
That's correct.
But that was not a formal vote to sign the contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, and you know what, I'm gonna get a little clarity on that, because if you have in your minutes, and I'm thinking through this, if you have in your minute that the association voted to enter into contract with First Service, then we would already have the vote.
At the December annual meeting, which is coming up for most of the associations, unless there's a quorum of the membership, there can be no motion and no vote.
No, it's not a membership vote, it's a board vote.
You can't vote because you're not allowed to make, I can't make a motion to vote on a contract, because if there's not a quorum of residents at the meeting, I am not allowed to make a motion. There are no motions and no votes at an annual meeting unless there's a quorum of the residents.
That's correct.
Which means that the contract cannot be voted on until the middle of January or February for most meetings.
So
a lot of our boards, what they're doing, because you all have items to discuss at your annual meeting, the annual meeting is typically a very quick meeting. They are having board meetings, official board meetings, immediately following their annual meeting. So that you can do that, and some associations are doing a board meeting the same day of their annual meeting.
But I go back to, if when you voted for First Service to be your management company, if you have that recorded in the minutes, then you should be able just to sign the contract and move on. A director. Usually the president signs, but it could be any one of the officers. But usually it's the president. That's the best practice.
No, I understand, but I want my board to vote, and we don't have our annual meeting until the end of January.
So calling a meeting to order takes 48 hours. It doesn't have to be in an annual meeting.
I understand that. I guess what I'm asking is, when are we going to be getting the contract? Today?
Today.
Well,
I just texted you.
So check your, I want you to go back, check the minutes that you took at I know the 15 associations who voted to go with First Service. Check your minutes. If that is recorded in your minutes, you should be able just to sign the contract. If it is not in your minutes, then you need to have a board vote to move forward with the contract. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Okay, someone make a motion to adjourn?
It started in January of this year that the boards were no longer taking minutes. The minutes were being made by First Service. So then First Service will automatically have it put down because it's their responsibility.
I was just walking over to Claudia to say, we probably have copies of the minutes, let's just do that work for them.
Because we were told
It would also be posted on the website, so that should be easier for us to look
First
at.
Service is responsible for taking meeting minutes.
Correct.
Actually,
Because of a litigation.
Correct.
can I interject here for a minute, Ivy, please?
Yes, of course.
I think there's a misunderstanding of what the committee was doing. What they didn't vote for their own association. they voted to choose First Service to negotiate with. There was no contract that was submitted to the committee that the committee agreed on. What we on that committee agreed to was that First Service would negotiate with us to make a contract. So there's no way that the presidents or the boards could have agreed to a contract until they...
So they agreed to go with First Service, but didn't agree to the contract.
Exactly.
All right, so
exactly.
to err on the side of caution, let's go back to having that vote. Fair? And we will facilitate it. We will tell you exactly what needs to be done and how it can be done. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Someone make a motion to adjourn, please? We need a second? Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for your support.